The Merkuriusmind presents to you our weekly dose of inspirational teachings. So sit back, listen, and thrive. And please, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get notifications every time we release a new dose. Let's go!
Hey, Merkurius community. Welcome to the Merkuriusmind podcast. Guys, you guys are rocking. Like last week, I made a video talking about how I want to restructure my podcast. You know, the former name, the Smarter Show, to Merkuriusmind, because you guys asked and we listened. So now on this show, from this new year, we're going to be having a lot of true life stories. People will come here to share their success story, their struggles, and their wins. Guys, if you haven't listened to last episode, we interviewed a hip hop artist. This guy went through depression when he lost the mom and the brother, but he came out on the other side from the love that he has for music. So guys, I want you to, if you haven't subscribed yet, I want you to just go to any podcast platform of your choice, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or any podcast platform of your choice, and subscribe to this community. Trust me, you're going to be missing a lot if you don't, because this restructuring is bringing a lot of value to your table. So today, we still have an amazing guest that we are bringing you. But guys, I want to deeply appreciate each and every one of you for the love, the support. I want to thank each and every one of you for all the reviews. And, as time goes on, we'll be reading out all the reviews. Every review matters, but because of time, we'll be, reading one or two reviews, maybe 2 weeks, every 2 weeks on the show. But guys, thank you. I appreciate you all. So today on this Merkuriusmind podcast, we have a phenomenal woman. I have been following her for a while, and the way she does her thing, she's very creative. And I've watched her do her things with the confidence that she do her things with, and every other thing. And I said, it will be a great value to bring her on the Merkuriusmind show so that she can come and tell us how she does the things she does, because we know that sometimes in life, what we need is someone to push us. And sometimes those pushing come through hearing their stories, because we might think that this person has it all figured out, but sometimes they went through thick and thin, they went through some certain challenges, and they still came out on the other side, and they, became who they were or who they are. So now we have Fola Coyote on the show. He's a native born in Brooklyn, New York. She served in the U.S. Army in North Carolina for 4 years, and she later graduated from Fayetteville State University in North Carolina with BSc in psychology and with master's in social work. And currently, she's pursuing her doctorate degree in healthcare administration. Guys, professionally, she's loaded. So she is a clinical social worker and therapist and a certified health coach. Guys, you guys should buckle your belt because you'll be learning a lot from her today. She is currently working with the federal government as a public health analyst. And Fola, one thing about her is she gives back to the community. She's an advocate for mental health and well-being, and she runs a holistic health company. In this company, they offer coaching, they offer mentorship, and other wellness services. And guys, I won't go on to read all her bio, but trust me, as she shares her story on this show, you will get to know more about Fola. So help me welcome Fola K as we welcome Fola on the Merkuriusmind show. We are happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here on your show. It's a pleasure to be here with you and all of your audience to share a little bit about my story, to tell a little bit about myself, and hopefully some of what I say can be a blessing to others, either seeking to follow a similar path or maybe in a certain challenge or phase of their life right now. So I'm just happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Chidi.
Thank you so much, Fola, for being on this show. Guys, as we do, this is new because normally we just pick a topic and talk about it. But now we want to be more real. We want to be more vulnerable. We want you to know that we are inviting people who were, once, where you are in life now, like maybe the level you are in life now, you think maybe people that are talking to you on this show are maybe up there. No, we all started from someplace. We all have a story behind our success. We all have a story behind everything that we are doing in life. And sometimes we learn more from hearing people's story. So Fola, we are so grateful to have you here. The pleasure is definitely ours. And now, first, I want to ask you, being a native born in New York, I know that there are, New York, like everybody knows, is a very challenging state to live in. So I know as a child, you might have encountered different struggles and challenges while growing up. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, okay. So being a New Yorker, I feel like those of us that are from New York, we have the best of many worlds, right? New York has always been that melting pot, a place where everyone comes together. And I think that it definitely shaped a lot of my life experiences, a lot of who I am today. Just when even going into the military, even the mindset, New York is one of those places that if you're in New York, if you make it there, I truly believe that you can make it anywhere. It's just it's the mecca of everywhere, of this country, I would say. But other people might feel their state is better. I mean, I like New York. It's always home. So growing up in New York, to two immigrant parents, was it was different. I wouldn't say it was a challenge. I would definitely say that it shaped a lot of my foundation. I had two educated parents who came in seek of just educating themselves, in seek of a better life for their children, their family, and being a first generation American. It really just made me have a strong appreciation and understanding for the value of hard work. I saw my parents working hard. I'm the first of five children, so I just their ambition, their drive, their resiliency to being foreigners in the country, especially my dad, who still carries very strong values. Being a proud Nigerian man in New York, working in one of the largest men's shelters in the city. My dad actually worked as a drug addiction counselor, did a lot of community service, legislative aid, did a lot of things, which I feel like also shaped my path to who I am today. But I mean, there's so much I can say about growing up in New York, Chitty, just to answer your question. But I think in a lot of ways, it just really shaped the good, maybe some of the not good, but it definitely defined who I am today. And I really attribute a lot of those things to my parents as well, who laid a really good foundation for myself and my siblings.
Oh, wow. So, are there like any particular thing that happened, an incident or a struggle, maybe in your teenage age or something that stand out, while you're in New York?
I mean, I remember going to school in New York, living in some of the very urban areas. I think, in hindsight, we realize, wow, you weren't really that rich. You think everything is great. I remember being in elementary school after I was in a private school for a bit. We were fortunate to be able to do that a little bit, but then went to a public school, which is where I spent the rest of my academic life. But being in a class where we sat on the floors, and we were divided by dividers. Our classrooms were divided. It wasn't even your typical classroom in Brooklyn, New York. And I remember not really thinking much of it. But as I look back, I'm like, wow, that was different. That's not how kids go to school. And I remember times growing up, I think now we all are appreciating our heritage, our culture, being Nigerian, but I remember being made fun of because of my name. I remember not wanting people to even know my name, know who I was. And these are all things we embrace more now, right? It's cool to be African. It's cool to be Black. It's cool to, to have the name that no one can pronounce. But growing up, I mean, it was rough. I can't lie. It was definitely rough being a young first generation in New York, though there was a little bit of everybody. It was just hard. Sometimes people didn't understand where we came from. They didn't understand who we were, getting names, African booty scratcher. I mean, all of these things affected my self-esteem, affected me in different ways that I didn't really understand until I got a little bit older, how some of those things affected me. But instead of using it for the negative, I used it and turned it around to positive and realized that this is my opportunity to educate people more on what it is, how great the continent of Africa is, and more importantly, how I am as an individual, and not necessarily being defined by maybe some of the things that media has shown people about different parts of Africa.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's very interesting. So, growing up in New York and now you moved to North Carolina and, you served in the US Army for 4 years, but you went to school there as well to study psychology and, have your bachelor's degree in psychology and your master's in social work. What made you, go that path? What changed? What brought about that mindset?
So it's so interesting because people have always asked, and one of the things that I thought about growing up, I mean, I never really thought that I would be a counselor or be involved in mental health or even in the military for that matter. I remember the recruiter coming to my high school and saying, "Oh, do you know that you can join the Army and they'll pay for you to go to school?" I always knew I was going to college. I applied to all kinds of schools, got accepted into several universities. I knew I was going out of state. But they told me that they would pay for it. They said, they would pay for it. I would still be able to go where I wanted to, still be able to do. And because I never looked into it, I was naive to the fact. I thought that, oh, okay, this sounds good. My parents didn't know anything about it either. But they came and they were persistent, the recruiters. So I decided at that point to just go ahead and give it a shot. And it's funny because I always say that sometimes we choose our profession, we choose our career path, but I really believe that the field of psychology chose me. Because I remember being in the military still, being in the barracks, and my roommate at the time was going to a school where I started Campbell University, which was in North Carolina as well. And we were trying to take classes online, take classes after we finished work for the day. And because at the time I didn't have a car, she had a car. I said, okay, well, I'll go to school with you. And I started just taking random classes. And eventually I said, okay, well, psychology kind of works. It's around your schedule. She was studying something else. So I just said, I'm just going to do psychology. And that's how I just kind of got into that. And I realized that I like this. I like the study of the mind. I like understanding people. And coming from a place where, New York has everyone. And now I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is a small city that a lot of people really didn't hear about at one point, but it's home of one of the largest Army bases, Fort Bragg. I had an opportunity to meet a whole lot of other people. I had an opportunity to meet people from different parts of the country that I wouldn't have normally run across being in New York. And it just opened my eyes to realize that, okay, this is what I like to do. And I think the more and more I spent time in the military and started understanding about different types of psychological disorders and mental health issues and illnesses, I realized, okay, this is something I want to do. I want to be able to work in this field. And once I finished, I decided to get my master's in social work. And the reason why I got my master's in social work is because I knew that I wanted to work directly with people and have an impact on people's lives. And social work gave me a broad enough background to be able to do that, not to be do child protective services or some of the other things that people think typically a social worker is, but it really gave me an opportunity to do all kinds of things. And I knew that I wanted to be a therapist. I knew that I wanted to be a clinician. And at the time, I went ahead and got my master's in social work. I was able to do an internship at the VA hospital, the Veterans Hospital there. And that just set the whole tone. And my dad kind of jokingly said, "Oh, my daughter is a counselor like her father." I'm like, "No, Dad, it's not because of you." But, I think maybe I've always seen my dad work in the community. He's one that's very, he's always giving back to the community, always doing stuff, always serving people. It's kind of it's the home I grew up in. And I do believe that played a large place in how I am and the things that I like to do, because I feel like I'm someone who loves to do for others, loves to give back. And so I think the career field was just something I enjoyed. And some people felt like, "Oh, you won't make money in that field." But for me, it's more about my passion. It's more about what I like, the service that I can do for others. And fortunate, I was able to, once I finished, get into a federal government job. And I've been working for the federal government now since then. So for several years, in just different roles, working as a social worker, an outpatient social worker on the psych units. I've worked in readjustment counseling, working for combat veterans and their families, providing counseling and therapy to them. Now working as a public health analyst, more macro level. So I've done a lot of different things in the area, intensive in-home. I've worked with at-risk youth and children that were on the verge of going into therapeutic homes, that were about to be placed in foster care because their families couldn't take care of them, teaching parents how to properly deal with their children's oppositional behaviors, teaching behavior management skills and techniques to parents. And I'm just doing so many things, also serving as a youth advisor for a organization, the National Council of Negro Women. So I've just in many roles been always around working with people, and I love helping people and working with them. And so that's how I got into the fields, and that's how I continue to stay in the fields. And that's what pushed me into also opening my own holistic health and lifestyle company, because it really gave me an opportunity to be able to do more. And I said, okay, if I'm doing for everyone else in all these other places and working for everyone else, why can't I also work for myself? Why can't I also do these things? Since it's something I'm already doing. And I was fortunate to have the VA, the Veterans Administration, pay for my certification, because I am certified as an integrated health coach through Duke University Medicine. And many people are familiar with Duke in North Carolina. And I was able to get my certification back in 2012. So I've been certified now for a little over 10 years as a health coach, but I wasn't doing it in my own realm as a business owner, and fortunately was able to get an LLC and start that and be able to add several different services under that umbrella.
Oh, wow. Wow, this is a very interesting story. I've been listening to you, and I have a question, like, with the things you talked about, what made you move, choose that career path? The things that I heard is passion, that you have passion for, how the mind works. My question is, with your broad knowledge on, on this particular, level and this topic, psychology and all that, you have worked with different people. What do you think is the most challenge that people face, in this space, in the space of psychology and mind and the mind and all that? What do you think is the most challenges that people face, like the youth, the kids and all that? What do you think?
I would say with our youth and children, right now, especially now, but even before, self-identity, identity crisis, imposter syndrome. A lot of people, especially with now the growing height of social media and technology, a lot of people are trying to be who they are not. A lot of people are trying to put on a facade. I used to see that a lot of times as I worked with the teenagers going into their schools. And this was before the Instagram days, but the children, it's to be one way or have their peers look at them this way. And if they didn't, then they weren't cool. They would get sad. They would get depressed. And this has been ongoing. And I just recently did something on childhood trauma and childhood mental health. And I realized that that's still an issue. There's still a lot of depression going on with the children. the teenagers, with even our younger children right now, just because of being accepted or not being accepted, trying to figure out who they are, what they are. And I think it's so important for people to realize that we have to reaffirm our children. We have to reaffirm the youth of today. We have to really let them understand that they are unique and that they have a purpose, and that no one needs to be like them. They don't need to be like anyone else, because they themselves are an individual and they can do great things. And that's something that I think a lot of times kids don't know. And it's causing a lot of problems when we look at some of the issues that our children are facing right now.
Okay. Wow, identity crisis, imposter syndrome. So your work look, not that it look, I know that it's very challenging, because I know what it means to work with somebody when it comes to mindset and all that. I'm a mindset coach myself, and I know how difficult it is for you to work with somebody, because you have to like start from scratch in some cases in changing their limiting beliefs and all that. So I know that your work is very challenging. So my question is, with all these challenges, how do you continue to like move on? What continue to, fuels your passion to continue to do it? You have been doing this for years, and, some people will be like, I'm tired of this. It's not that I am in need, or I don't have money to take care of myself, but what pushes you? What makes you wake up every day and you still want to give out more, and you still want to be able to offer more and serve people more?
I would say seeing the smiles on people's faces, seeing the lives that are saved. I get my biggest joy out of seeing that other people are happy. But I know that it's also important to take care of ourselves. So self-care is important for me as well, making sure that I'm taking care of myself so that I'm in the best possible space. Because if I'm not healthy mentally, then how can I be a help for anyone else? But for me, just seeing that I've changed lives, some of the stories that I remember working at the VA at the clinic in Annapolis, Maryland, before my current job, working with a veteran, an older vet, a Vietnam vet. And I remember him putting in his forward, he added my name in his book, and he said, that I really changed his life. And that to me, it was shocking for one, but to know that I had an impact on an elderly man to this impact, to where he, dedicated a certain part of his book to me, I thought was really humbling. And, when I hear people say, oh, it's because of you I made it. It's because of you I didn't give up. Fola, or Miss Fola, as they used to call me. It feels good. It's good to know that I'm doing something in their lives. It's good when I used to work with the children and they would come to me and say, oh, are you coming? And if I say I wasn't coming for one reason or the next, they would be sad, and they would be like, no, you have to come. I'm not going to do this if you don't. And so I know that I'm doing something right. Right. And so my push is to continue to do something, because if I can save one life, if I can change one life, then I feel like I'm walking in my purpose. I'm doing my purpose, because this is not for me, it's for God. If I'm not doing what God wants me to do, then there's a problem. And I truly believe that this is all in alignment with my purpose, because things have just been shifting and moving. And I know that it's not because of me. That I know for sure. And that gives me the drive to wake up and keep doing it, even on the days that I'm tired.
Yeah. Wow. So that you mentioned purpose as you're talking, and I remember in your bio, I read that you said your motto is, the purpose of life is to live a life of purpose. Can you just, explain that more for us?
Yes, for sure. Because, a lot of times we can be just living or coexisting or just doing nothing, or think we're doing something when we're really not. And I do, as you've mentioned that quote, I mean, it's someone that I stand by. The purpose of life is to live a life of purpose. Why am I here? What am I doing here? Who am I here for? Who am I serving? Those are all things that are very important to me and have always been important to me. And honestly, if I wasn't in alignment with my purpose, then I don't know what I would be doing. I really don't. And I have to ask myself sometimes, because sometimes I need to make sure that I'm still doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. So I'll sit back and ask, like, God, if this is not how you want me to do it, let me know. And I think that ties into some of the other things that I'm doing when it comes to, because some people ask, well, how did you get into MC? And I know we didn't talk about that
Yeah,
yet, but
we will talk about that on the show.
but it does tie into that. So I'll hold off on that part, but it does tie into just kind of all of this.
Okay. So that brings me to the distance. So guys, we have been listening to Fola, and it's just like her work is her life, because as she's sharing this, she's sharing with all her heart. Like she has this passion that is driving her. But the good thing is, Fola is a multi-talented individual. Like, there is this fun part of her that you won't even believe. Like, so Fola MCs events. And guys, I'm not kidding. She's very creative when it comes to handling your event. And the thing is this, from where, from where I came from back home, we look at MC job as the main thing, right? We think is a man thing, is a man that's supposed to like MC, because that has been the way it is for a very long period of time. But seeing how creative you do your things and all that, I want to ask you, like, what's up with the MC? Like, did you just wake up one day and you decided to start to be an MC, or how come? How come? I just want to hear that.
So it's funny, because I think part of just the things that I enjoy doing is celebrating with people.
Okay.
I am that friend. And sometimes I say it's a gift and a curse, but I'm that person that before, and I'm getting better at slowing down, but if you invite me, I'm there. If I have 3 events, 4 events, everybody will see my face. I'm coming to your event. I'm coming with a gift. I'm coming with some snacks, because I love food. I'm coming and I'm going to be there, and I'm going to support you, your event, your cause. I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to dance. I'm going to laugh. It's just, I truly love celebrating with people. I love enjoying people's enjoyable times with them, and even sometimes not the enjoyable times, whatever it is, I'm there. And so some of my friends jokingly said, like, we don't know how you do it. You're some kind of superwoman. I'm like, I don't know how I do it either. And I was hosting things at certain points, just kind of helping out with friends, events, as some of my friends, maybe if they had a baby shower or a birthday party for their cousin or their sister. As I mentioned, I was a youth advisor for several years, about 6 years plus, for a organization that had teenagers, and we would do things in a community. And I would speak on certain panels with them and talk about self-esteem and just different things that I did while I was even in college. And the MCing, I would say, on a professional level, came about just maybe a few years back, where I was doing a friend's baby shower for another group I'm in, a group that I'm one of the co-organizers for here in the DMV metro area. And one of my friends, he said, why don't you just do this? And then they all start, some of our friends, they can just pump us up. Oh no, yes, Fola, you need to do this. You need to make this a business. You're good in this. You keep people together. You have a way of commanding a room. I'm like, me? What are you talking about? I mean, this is just fun, but they said, no, but people pay attention and they listen, and you should just do this, and you don't make it sound bad, and I'm like, okay, I don't know. And that's really how it started, honestly. I attribute it to the ladies in my group. It was a co-ed group, but more of the ladies just said, you should do this. And you're already doing it for us, so why not do it for others as well? And at the time, I wasn't doing it by myself, but definitely organizing some of these different events and things and programs. And so that's how it started. Okay, it wasn't that something I thought about. It wasn't something I said, this is what I want to do. It was just something that kind of came naturally. So it was fun. You know, I didn't look at it as a task. They said, no, you need to start charging people. I'm like, why? This is fun. You know, but they said it's your time.
Yeah.
You know, you have to put things together. I mean, which I was putting things together, but I didn't really think anything of it, because when you love what you do, you don't see it as work, right? You don't see it as work. You're just kind of like, okay, this is fun. So that's how it started. And then from there, I started doing baby shower. That was a party. I started doing baby showers, bridal showers, weddings, events, international events, birthday parties in Cancun, weddings in Barbados. I mean, I just started traveling and doing it more and more for friends, but not even just for friends and family, but also people were referring me. And I remember doing my first international event where somebody came up, and this person was from the UK. They didn't know me, and they came up to me and said, "Do you do this professionally? Is this the work you're doing full time?" They said, "Wow, you were good." This was a 40th. And I was just so shocked. I'm like, I was good. You know, I just thought I was having a good time and keeping the crowd engaged and having them enjoy this birthday party. And after hearing a couple of people come up to me at that particular event, I realized, okay, I need to keep on doing this. This is fun and people are enjoying it. So hopefully I'm doing something right. But it just kind of went from there.
Yeah. Wow. And that's one thing about you. Just like anything you decide to do, you put passion into it. You know, this is something you will still, you know, try to teach people, not just about the, you know, the psychology part, because some people sometimes they think their passion to do something is dry. Like they do things and they do it like they are being forced to. Like, okay, it's just that I have to do this. But the way you do your thing, both your, you know, your business, your career, your MC, hosting an event. I've watched so many of your posts on Instagram. Like, I remember, yeah, during the pandemic, like you did, that was the first time of me seeing someone MCing an event on Zoom. I was like, what? I said, that was very creative. I was like, how did she do that? So can you tell us what made you think about that? Like, what made you think, okay, since the pandemic has shut down, you know, we have been to a live event, let me do the Zoom MC. So what did you put together? How did you make it lively for people to still feel it? Because I saw the joy in that room.
Yeah, everyone's home. We've been home. I'm working from home now. And even with my other group, I realized that, okay, if we're going to be at home and we were used to getting together, why not enjoy it from our computer screens? And so, yes, I put together some events. I was a part of events. I had the privilege of being a part of an introduction that I was able to MC and help with the wedding on Zoom, which the couple is actually celebrating their 1 year. So you'll see pictures of that one soon. A whole wedding, yes, on Zoom. And it was just fun. It's been fun. But, you know, we can't keep people's attention long when you're on the computer, right? So sometimes I have to think of creative ways to get people involved. You know, I'll have games and scavenger hunts where people are running around their houses to look for things. Have people dancing. We've had dance competitions. We've had dance-offs. We've had lip singing, just games, trivias, all kinds of things. You'd be surprised how much you can do online. But I think the key to it is keep people moving, because if we're just sitting the whole time, people get bored. So one of the things that I like to do in a Zoom event that I host or co-host or facilitate is getting people up, getting people moving. Wow. I think that's usually what does it. And I always have music. I have a good playlist, so always have music.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. That's I saw that video. I was like, wow, Zoom party.
Yes, Zoom parties are a thing.
Guys, I hope you guys are enjoying this interview as much as I am. And Fola, the thing about you is, as much as you use your passion to do the things that you do, you belong to, you know, so many organizations that still give back. And that's one thing, you like giving back. You don't hoard your knowledge, you don't hoard your resources. Like you said, you like it when you see people happy. It makes you happy too. So can you tell us, you know, most of this organization that you belong to, like you belong to the Association of Social Workers. the National Association of Black Social Workers and the Advancement of Colored People. Tell us some of these organizations and what do they do?
Yeah, so the social work organization is primarily for those of us that are social workers, and the work being change agents in the nation. So they do a lot of legislative reforms, changes. As you can imagine, it's all related to more so my career path. Even though I do other things, I'm also a part of the sorority, one of the Panhellenic, the Divine Nine, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, which is a service organization based on the principles of scholarship, sisterhood, and service. So that organization in itself does a lot of service to the community, a lot of giving back, a lot of scholarships for college students, teens, a lot of work that we do because it's a very large organization founded in 1913. Also, the National Council of Negro Women I'm a life member of that organization, which is also based on service. So we do a lot, from shelters to food pantries to donations to clothing drives, all kinds of things. These organizations have been doing it for years, and I'm just happy and fortunate to be able to be a part of these organizations where I'm able to give back my time as well.
Wow, that's for sure. Because you being here, sharing your story, knowing that it's inspiring someone, giving your time and your energy and your presence. I mean, this explains it all. So thank you. I'm very honored to have you on this show. And I hope my audience learn one or two things from your story, understanding that passion is very important. And when we understand that our passion, what moves us, is not something that we can sit back and neglect. That when we just look at how you started, right? It just like it's growing, it grows. That's the good thing about passion. When we are following our passions, we will have opportunities to be able to grow, to be able to give more, to be able to become more and serve more. So thank you very much for all you do. And we are so happy to have you on this show. So can you tell, my audience where they can find you in case somebody wants to maybe light up their show, like, because now it's not just about the mental health, it's not just about the psychology, the mind and all that, but in case somebody wants to maybe light up their show, trust me, MC Fola got you. So can you tell people, where they can find you, maybe your social media handles and all that?
Okay, yes, definitely. Mind, body, and soul. All areas of the body connects, right? You can't have one without the other. When we think about everything, we think so the social piece, the mental piece, the physical piece, everything is connected. But you can find me on social media for events and hosting at the MC Fola K, Folak. And then also if it's related to health, it's Holistic Health and Lifestyle at Holistic Health and Lifestyle. But okay, for all things, come to at the MC Fola K.
So they can find that on Instagram, right?
Yes, I am on Instagram.
Okay. So guys,
and my email is
okay, so I will put all those, every information, the email on the Instagram handle and, the website, so that you can go and learn more. If you want to know more about the things, trust me, Fola has been in the area of psychology and mentorship and counseling for a very long period of time. And knowing the nature of the time that we are in now, a lot of people are giving up on so many things. Like mental health is one of the major things, like people are suffering mental illness. That's one thing that a lot of people are going through now. I watched CVS started transforming from just being a pharmacy, like giving out medications, to talking about mental health. And they are very big on it now because they see how this is ravaging people now. People are sitting back home. They don't have what to think on. They don't have those distractions that they used to have. Now they are coming to the reality. And, a lot of people commit suicide. A lot of people go through some, depression, anxiety, facing all kinds of mental situations. So guys, she will be a very, very good help in this time. So if you can reach out to her on Instagram, I'll put all those information in the description box. If you can reach out to her, if you're going through anything, this is the period that you don't have to keep things to yourself anymore. You have to speak out. You have to seek for help. Like, you can't do this on your own. That is the facts. That is the truth. Once you hide the things, that is when it escalates and it grows. And nobody wants to grow on negativity. We all want to grow, in doing positive things and becoming more of who we are created to be. So thank you so much, Fola, for all that you do.
Thank you.
For
Yes,
listening.
everyone needs help. Absolutely. And like you said, I just want to reiterate that everyone needs help. Nobody deserves and nobody needs to do this alone. There are people that will help you. There are free resources. Please reach out to me. I can definitely lead you in a way to some free resources. No one, even ourselves as clinicians and people in the fields, like my professor told us before, even the therapist needs therapy, and I'm a firm believer of that.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So, guys,
Thank you so much.
if you love this kind of interview, if you gain value from this interview, just go on Instagram, tag me, tag Fola, tell us what you learned, tell us what the things you picked from this interview, and share it with your family, share it with your friends, maybe 3 of your friends, because believe it or not, we are entitled to sharing, to share positivity. We are called to do that. Make it a point of duty to be the one that shares positivity in the community. And the way you do it, even if you don't know what to say, is to share things like this. You don't know who you're helping when you do that. When you share this to 1 or 2 or 3 of your friends, you don't know who they will, send the thing to, and you don't know what you're doing. You don't know the life that you're impacting. So please and please, subscribe again, subscribe. And if you want to favor me personally, you can leave us a review on Apple. Believe it or not, it helps, to get this episode to the right people. It helps Apple to rate it. So you can do that. Leave us a review, rate us on Apple, do all that you can to make sure you are part of this community. And if there are topics that you want us to talk on, if there are things that you want us to share more light on, don't be scared. Don't hold it back. Come on send us an email. Tell us about what you want to hear more on this podcast, and we will be more than happy to serve you. So thank you so much, guys, for your time. I appreciate all of you. And thank you, Fola, for this precious time. I am honored, and thank you. Thank you and thank you. I can't say that enough, because
Thank you for having me.
Yes, deeply. I am very honored. So thank you. And guys, we will see you on the next week's show. Thank you and stay safe.